This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. We need to talk about this because no one else is. Gateway Pundit, a conservative media outlet, is commenting on the Sunday Times article that was published this weekend. The Gateway Pundit adds their perspective of when celebrity journalism and the fight for free speech collide. Now, the reason why I'm spotlighting the Gateway Pundit as opposed to showing you Camilla Long's article is because the Gateway Pundit was a media outlet back in 2021 and 2022 where the CCDH and Harry and Meghan and the whole censorship cabal had campaigned to shut conservative voices down, taking away ad revenue. And the Gateway Pundit was on that list for being blacklisted across social media platforms and Google. I'd like to read this to you so you can hear their perspective because it is scathing, but I don't think it's getting the visibility that it should be getting. The article begins by saying, "We follow the incessant drama surrounding the British royal family. The Windsors, because of the quasi-Shakespearean quality of their constant fighting, and, in disgraced Andrew and Fergie's case, for the severity of the crimes involved, mostly derived from the long-running association with late pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. But in the court case defeat of Prince Harry in his Daily Mail lawsuit, we bump into a relevant case regarding freedom of speech, and even if we think that the MSM is very bad, we see how the rich and famous trying to silence them are much worse. Don't we know it?" Camilla Long wrote a very interesting article in the Sunday Times about the case brought by Harry along with Elton John, Elizabeth Hurley, and other self-appointed members of the elite. Here was a set of people, lawyers, activists, celebrities, who truly madly wanted to show that the paper had attacked them, and they were prepared to say whatever to back this up. Yet, on all 97 accounts, after requiring Associated to comb through 40,000 documents, they failed to produce any evidence of wrongdoing at all. Long describes how the judge wrote that witnesses were prone to reconstruction, aka lying. Even Harry, she writes, was caught embellishing his deposition several times. As for the rest of the ruling, it was the prince's basic nightmare. On page after page, Nicklin praised individual male journalists as impressive, honest, and candid. Paul Dacker was robust and truthful. Harry had risked millions, only to be told how brilliant Paul Dacker was. It could not be worse. Yet there's a more serious issue beneath the jokes at Harry's expense. How healthy is it, I wonder, for society to allow a prince to drag scores of innocent journalists through the courts? You may disagree with the Mail or feel these journalists somehow deserved it, and in some other, separate cases, they have. But there is a principle here, and it's freedom of speech. Just because some people abuse that freedom, it does not mean you get to throw that freedom away or use it as a weapon. The judge blasted the plaintiff's case, saying there's no propensity among journalists to do illegal investigations. Journalists are not inherently criminal. Long's article strikes a personal note when she shares that Harry's team approached and bullied her for writing that the prince might be lying. To the prince, this ruling is, by contrast, more or less risk-free. He can declare it's a complete and obvious whitewash and insinuate it is part of a conspiracy to exonerate the Mail without worrying someone will take his job away or how he's going to pay the massive fees. There will always be someone to swoop out of nowhere to save him, as they have done many times. As for the legal profession, I've never seen a judge so livid as during the Mail trial. Long was right about that. Page 6 reported that humiliated Prince Harry doesn't have the money to pay his legal fees, but help is on the way. Harry and the other plaintiffs will have 14 days to pay the court. But how? The people funding the case will likely help Harry with costs. A legal source familiar with the case said the estate of the late Formula One tycoon Max Mosley, along with campaign group Hacked Off, accused of attempting to undermine press freedom, helped fund the claimant's research. But the legal source also feels an old friend of Harry's mother, Princess Diana, might step up. Elton John could also well help Harry out. They're extremely close. Harry definitely doesn't have the money for it, revealed a well-placed insider, adding that Markle will likely be very furious about the fees. So now you can understand why Harry doesn't look like he has a care in the world.
Hey, how about this one? Occupation.
Full-time dad, British Army veteran, Prince of England, Duke. But for today, I don't know. What do you want, Duke?
So what did you notice there? Aside from him leaving out that he is a husband, he calls himself Prince of England. Now, some are interpreting that as, oh, Prince Harry has no occupation, and he rattles this off tongue-in-cheek, or he just is that thick. But I don't think so. I think it was deliberate. It just rolled off his tongue, and in an informal setting, he could say something like this if he was indeed still working for the institution, which I am of the belief he never left. And this is why we're seeing all this weird stuff happening now, as we have been talking about how they were slowly moving this idiot back. And didn't I tell you what was going to be happening after Donald Trump won? We were going to start to see Harry being positioned to move back home because his mission failed here. I also was the one to tell you that Archwell's focus now was going to be with international bodies, no longer here with the United States because there's no more money. But the biggest I told you so has always been about Harry coming over here to erode the First Amendment. This mission may have failed for now, but these two certainly haven't given up. And I've explained all of that. I've explained what they would be moving on to next. And sure enough, child safety, that was going to be now the cover for the mis and disinformation, as well as pushing for this age verification and removing privacy. And look at the various events that Harry is picking to go speak at. In this casual setting, the way that Harry just lets Prince of England roll off his tongue, not like anything tongue-in-cheek, tells me that he still works for the crown, because that technically is his position.
British Army veteran, Prince of England, Duke. But for today, I don't know. What do you want, Duke?
So I guess Harry's no longer working for Better Up as Jimbo, because technically that would have been his occupation. But now I get that it's not the correct institutional title. However, he could say that in a literal sense if that is his occupation of being Prince and of England. And I think that that's kind of where he was coming from. Either way, I think many of you are beginning to see or are seeing that Harry really never left the crown. Just some food for thought. At least that's what I believe.
British Army veteran, Prince of England, Duke. But for today, I don't know. What do you want, Duke?
Now, while we have all of these stupid articles now that are going to start to come out about what allegedly went down in this private meeting with Harry, Meghan, and those two invisible children, try not to get too distracted with that, because on Thursday, it's going to be explosive, as Trump is scheduled to give a speech about foreign interference in the 2020 election. Newly declassified intelligence reports reveal a foreign nation's plans to interfere in the 2020 presidential election. You don't say. Wonder which country he's talking about. Trump will be joined by officials including CIA Director John Ratcliffe, Acting Director of National Intelligence Bill Pulte, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Homeland Security Mark Wayne Mullen. It's interesting that this information has been put out there by MS Now, claiming that two unidentified White House officials are the ones that have leaked this information. So, yeah, I'd say for now, take it with a grain of salt, but this is promising that MS Now is reporting this. Now, of course, the left-wing media is running with this, mentioning Russia again, and also China could have been involved with a multi-pronged covert influence campaign to undercut Trump's candidacy. If this report is true, then we're going to be in for one hell of a ride on Thursday. And I don't think Russia's name is going to be mentioned. That Russia hoax has been 100% debunked. One can hope that the chickens are coming home to roost. And I think maybe on Thursday, this is going to be Donald Trump's call to the U.S. Congress to pass the SAVE Act. We cannot have any kind of interference in our elections ever again, because what happened in 2020 robbed the will of the American people, triggering consequences that is going to take decades to clean up. And these people that you see on your screen pushing this globalist agenda and are part of the World Economic Forum, the UN, the World Health Organization, and NATO are all responsible for making the world less safe, more divisive, and less free. And we have all of these people, including the royal family, to blame for it. So I do hope on Thursday, MS Now is telling the truth, and Donald Trump does talk about the 2020 election and foreign interference, because we know that there was foreign interference. Now, if I had to guess for the 2020 election, countries like Venezuela is going to come up, the UK and Smartmatic and that software, we've talked about that before, as well as the censorship piece and the potential bot army. Now, we know a lot about those bots because the Sussex Squad was doing double time for Meghan Markle and Joe Biden. You only have to look at what Ian Sexton and Christopher Boozy were doing. Foreign interference can also creep in through dark money. Remember in 2020, leading up to the election, we had all of those allegedly organic protests popping up everywhere for Black Lives Matter?
Several members of Black Lives Matter of Greater New York are on their way to Minnesota. The group departed from the South Bronx earlier this morning. They plan to take part in demonstrations calling for justice in the death of George Floyd.
Black Lives Matter activists heading to Minneapolis from New York City? Here's the proof that this is coordinated. Look at this list of Black Lives Matter demonstrations over the past few days. Thursday was a calculated hit across the country. There's George Floyd protest in Denver, Colorado, Columbus, Ohio, New York City, Oakdale, Duluth, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. This is not organic. The video coverage of bricks being stationed throughout rioting zones also shows that this is an orchestrated event. The truth is out there. Everyone is connecting the dots. This is not a race war. This was planned to divide society. This was planned to blame Trump. This was planned so that the Dems and the deep state can hold on to control as this year's election is approaching and the death of the deep state seems imminent.
Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here, and you will not believe who we found on Antifa's tax return, or an organization that is directly linked to Antifa, their tax return anyhow. Now, who is this organization? Well, the organization is called the Center for Community Change for Action. Now, this is a Washington, D.C. based nonprofit group that is directly linked to Antifa members. They have ties, people on the board there with Antifa. So they have this direct link. Now, before I share with you the actual tax return, I want to state this, that usually politicians and people who are globalists and high up, they'll go through one organization to donate to another organization, and they do that because they don't want a direct link tying them straight to that group or organization. And in this case, this is exactly what we're seeing. But wait until I show you these actual reports. Now, the Center for Community Change itself is a community group that has been directly involved in attack campaigns and ads against Donald Trump when he was running, while he was running for presidency in November 2016, even a little before that and after that. They're very huge, progressive, I would say socialist, communist style group, if you will. Maybe that's a little bit much, but yeah, they're kind of along those lines. That's what progressive is. But also attack ads against the Republican Party as well. And again, they have direct links to Antifa and sit on boards of various liberal activist groups. So that's it in a nutshell. Well, I'm going to toss up on the screen so you guys don't have to take my word for it, but the actual tax return from this group, again, that has links to Antifa. And you're going to see, if you scroll down to about page 24 there, here are some of the foundations giving money to these groups. And I'm telling you something, I'm not going to buy some of these products anymore. But the first one there at the top is W.K. Kellogg's Foundation. Yes, the Kellogg's, like your cereals and all of that, but $3 million. We have the Ford Foundation, Ford. Shock there, I guess, I don't know. $2,350,000. And George Soros Group, we knew he was part of it. Now the number I had actually referenced in prior videos was small compared to what came out on the tax returns. And he does this through his group, the Open Society Foundation, $1,750,000. There you go. George Soros helps fund that. The California Endowment, $524,000. The Casey Foundation, $515,000. Fidelity Charitable Gift, $505,000. And the National Immigration Law Center, because like these people actually help, but $316,000 there, $316,000. Now here's another section of the tax return as well, and here's some more groups that also donated, and this was tax returns from 2015, but here in that next document, you're gonna see on page 15 there, but every citizen counts donated $1,750,000. Who is every citizen counts? Well, get this, a group created by allies of Miss Hillary Clinton herself. They were created to mobilize Latinos and African American voters. Yeah. Now we have another group, $1,750,000 that's donating money kind of with Hillary's name on it. An ally of Hillary, Rodham. Yeah, that's how I like to pronounce it. Clinton. Again, then you have another Open Society Policy Foundation. Again, George Soros fingerprints, and now that's $1,475,000. 1630 Fund, $610,000. Center for Community Change, $150,000. SEIU, well, that's a shocker, $150,000. And Atlantic Philanthropies, $75,000. Tides did a lot of things on Tides Foundation, $50,000. Henry Van American, $35,000. United Auto Workers, $25,000. Sanders Strouts, $25,000. Margaret and Roger, $20,000. Scott Wallace, $20,000. I guess some of those are donors there. United Food and Commercial Workers, $15,000. Lee Harpin, PC Booth, Planned Parenthood Federation of America, $5,000 for each of those. And the fund there, and Rebecca Lieberman, about $5,000. So there you have it. These people, Hillary Clinton organizations, George Soros groups, or Hillary Clinton allied organization, George Soros funded groups, all giving money. The Ford Foundation, Kellogg's, giving money to Antifa, funneling it through one organization to get it through another. Yeah, we're aware how that works. Mr. Soros and Clinton and Kellogg's and Ford, we know how it works. And this is exactly what they are doing. And that is your 100% proof that that is exactly what is happening.
So while everybody is celebrating this humiliation of Prince Harry, don't think that he's going to face consequences. Somebody is going to bail this guy out, whether it be this Max Mosley estate or Pa. Harry's going to get off easy because remember, this 50 million pounds that they're estimating it's going to cost, it's across 7 people. However they divide it, I don't think Harry is going to get 50 million pounds that he's going to be responsible for. It's going to be split. So if you break that up across how many claimants were there, 6 or 7, we're talking 10 million apiece. Harry can easily afford that, but guaranteed he'll find somebody else to pay for it. The money is not the issue here. Harry needs to face real consequences. So if you lie in court and commit perjury, you need to go to jail. Same thing if you're in another country and you are committing sedition, you need to go to jail. You all following with what I'm saying here? While there may be people talking about this bullshit meeting between the king and these two invisible kids and what allegedly went down in this so-called 15 minutes or 30 minutes or hour, I don't really care. My focus will be remained here because there are no journalists or commentators with excellent royal sources who is talking about it, which makes you wonder, why not? Anyway, let me close out and say this. It appears some people aren't happy that I have a different opinion about the reports of Meghan and the children visiting the king. That's perfectly fine. But just know, I don't care. I don't believe the story, and that's my right. Everyone is free to reach their own conclusions, but based on the limited information available and the way I've come to view the Harry and Meghan media circus over the years, I remain unconvinced that this meeting happened. As the saying goes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'll leave you on that note, but what do you guys think? What do you think Donald Trump's going to talk about on Thursday? Do you think this is all starting to catch up with Prince Harry? I sure do. Anyhow, let me know your thoughts below. As always, I will be back with more content, but until then, please be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
It was such a fraud.